Hi everyone, Corey here from the Knitting All the Blankets podcast, and it's been a while. I've got a ton of stuff to show you. If I pan the camera around, you would see all the stuff on the chaise part of my couch going that way, and more stuff on the couch going that way. But first, I actually would like to do the real full introduction to this podcast. If you're new, welcome and thank you for stopping by and spending a few minutes of your time with me. If you're one of my returning viewers, welcome back and thank you for coming back. Like I said, my name is Corey. This is my knitting podcast where I just show you all the things I've been working on and kind of talk about what's been going on in my life a little bit. I've got my introduction notes like down here. I haven't done this introduction in so long. My Ravelry name is craftsbycori, all one word, and I'll put that in the description box below. There is also a group on Ravelry for this podcast. It's called the Knitting All the Blankets podcast group. So please come over there and join us if you haven't already. It's not as active as I would like it to be, and that's kind of my fault. We're still pretty small. I do have a currently working on thread, so if you're currently working on something, doesn't matter what it is, post a picture of it, tell us a little bit about it. I'd love to see it. I'm going to be doing a new thread in that, or a new reply in that post, and after I'm done with this video anyways. I also have an Ask Me thread and an Introductions thread. You'll need to kind of search for it because they just haven't been used in so long that, they kind of, they filter down. The Ravelry group is also where I will post show notes and, a list of, what whips I was working on, what my finished objects were, if there were any knitting patterns that I was talking about, any Etsy shops I've mentioned, any specific yarns I've used, all of that. So let's just get into it. So it's been about a month, and there's a good reason for it. After I finished making my brother's blanket, and for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and scroll back through some of my previous videos. Eric's blanket really was the focus of this podcast for about 6 months, and it was my sole project. Well, since then, I got back into making dishcloths for craft show inventory. I got back to working on my mini skein 10-stitch blanket, and I started a shawl for a friend, all of which I am going to show you. But in the meantime, and when it came time after the last podcast, so about a month ago, so 2 weeks after that, so 2 weeks ago, I was going to do a podcast, and then I looked at my notes of, what I had talked about on the previous podcast and what I was going to be talking about. There wasn't really any updates I had for you, and there wasn't really anything new to tell you, and I didn't feel like it was a valuable use of your time, my time, anything like that. So I just held off, and I'm glad I did because now I have a bunch of stuff to tell you. So I hope to get all through it. I have more notes of, making sure I get through everything. So let's talk about finished objects. So, finished objects. Usually my finished objects are cotton dishcloths, and big surprise, that's what I'm going to be showing you. These are the Bernat Purple Perk. It's kind of getting blown out. The purple is much darker in real life than it is coming up on camera. It really is. But natural sunlight will do that. I love having that window open. But I got 11 dishcloths. Ends aren't woven in, of course. Not yet. I'll do that tonight. 11 dishcloths out of one of those big Bernat skeins of cotton yarn. That was the first of 4 purple perk skeins that I have. So the last little bit on the cone, I just left it. I didn't make it into a scrubby because once I get through all of my coned up yarn, I'm going to cone up more purple, so I'll just tie it on and, keep going. So yeah, this was the first of 4, and those will go into, once I sew the ends in tonight, I will add them to my craft show tubs. I actually did a full inventory the other day, and I have, including those 11, I have 146 dishcloths ready to sell this year's craft show season. So far this year alone, I've made 33. If you've been following for a while, you know I have an annual goal from January to October 1st to make 100 dishcloths. And I am a little behind, as I've said in previous podcasts, because I didn't knit any dishcloths in January. I just focused on my brother's blanket. So that was that. The current cotton color I'm working on is another Bernat. It's Bernat Lollipop. And it is a twist. I will post a picture in the currently thread with a half-finished dishcloth so you guys can actually see it. This is a color I have worked with before. So it's not a new color to me, but I'm just working through it. So cotton is going along. My knitting, if you just heard that, that was my ice maker. My knitting priority list, some people do have those. For me, on a monthly basis, it's get through the cotton color of the month. And this month, it is the Lollipop. I was looking at it the other day and I'm like, I have the other cone of it right here. I'm like, why is it called Lollipop? And then I saw one of those really big circular lollipops and I'm like, oh, that's why it's called Lollipop. There's purpose for that being there in a second. But I knit through my cotton and it usually takes me, I get about 10 to 12 dishcloths depending on the skein of yarn. That's just the way it is. So, and if I knit half a dishcloth a day, let's do some math. It's about I'm about 3/4 of the way through the month before I'm done with the cotton, which is fine. Because, again, if you've been following me for a while, you know I have repetitive stress injury and mild carpal tunnel. So I would rather be able to knit a little bit every day instead of knit. Crap, my wrists hurt now. I can't knit for a few days. So that's how I do it. Then once the cotton's done, I kind of alternate between some personal projects and some gift knitting during the week, just because I don't have as much time during the week. I prefer simpler projects, like right now it would be Tiffany's shawl, which I am going to show. I'm not entirely sure if Tiffany watches my podcast. If she does, hey Tiff, you're gonna see your gift in progress, and I don't care if you don't want to see it, look away. Because it's so mindless for me, and I'll talk more about it in a second. And then on the weekends, Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast, she does Scrappy Sundays where she works on all of her scrappy projects. And my scrappy project is my mini skein 10 stitch blanket. So I would work on that on the weekends. So, and I've got updates on those to show you in a second. Before I show you those, I made a discovery. If you guys remember, I've mentioned that my husband and I are going on a trip this year, and I was concerned because I didn't want to take a whole bunch of balls of cotton yarn with me. I just wanted to take maybe one of the big cotton cones of yarn. like this. This is a sugar and cream cone of yarn. It's the Ahoy Ombre colorway, and it really looks like Miami Dolphins to me. Not that I'm a Dolphins fan, but that's just what it looks like. And my concern was, I don't have a project bag that this fits in. And my husband, being the very wise man that he is and very spatially minded, he's like, are you sure about that? Because I never actually measured anything. So what I did, I took my lovely Doctor Who project bag that is by my friend Tiffany, who I'm making the shawl for. And I just opened it up. The inside's just plain khaki. And I did add this though. I put a grommet through it so I could have this binder ring, and I attached a notions pouch to it. I just did that to it. But what I did is I just opened it up really, really big. I'm just like, okay, let's see if this thing fits in here. And lo and behold, it does. I'm very happy about that. And you know, it sits straight up. Let's see if it does sit flat on the bottom because Tiffany made the bottom flat. And I can put my needles in there, and I'll be able to take this with me on our trip. We are going to be riding the train a lot, so I'm going to have lots of scenic knitting time. So because that fit, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if my coned up cotton, you know, the cones that I use to put on my lovely yarn cone holder that my husband made me. These are just those standard cone winder cones. I wondered if they would fit. So, once again, opened it up really big. And I wasn't using this one. I had one of the cones of Purple Perk, actually, at the time, because we were going to my niece's birthday party when I tested this. And this one, of course, it's going to be temperamental while I'm filming, because that's how things go. But it does fit. It's tight, but it does fit. So I probably wouldn't put a full cone in here. Like, I have to rewind this. It's not too bad. Okay, no biggie. Probably a full cone wouldn't be a good idea, but one that's had some yarn taken off of it already, I would put in here. But knowing that these lovely cones fit in this bag no problem, yeah, that's gonna make vacation knitting quite fun for me now. And what's also been interesting, if you guys have ever looked at the yardage between the big Bernat skeins and the sugar and cream and peaches and cream cones, the sugar and cream and peaches and cream cones have roughly the same amount of yardage. The big Bernat skeins are about 100 yards less. I would not have called that. Honestly, I would not have called that. So, it is what it is, right? So, that was a lovely, lovely surprise to figure out. Alright, so, let me move this over here. Alright, works in progress. So, I told you about Tiffany shawl, which I'm keeping in my wonderful medium-sized husky tool bag because cute project bags don't last with me. And to be perfectly honest, I can fit a ton more in here, and this will take abuse than some project bags of the same size. It's just my opinion, but I love them. So, the yarn I am using, I think I spoke about this yarn on the last podcast. This is a thing of Red Heart Super Saver in the Country Rose colorway. This is an old skein of yarn. This yarn belonged to Tiffany's grandmother, who is no longer with us. All the yarn I'm making her shawl with belonged to her grandmother. So, this is how, last time I had shown this to you guys, I was down here somewhere. I hadn't gotten a lot of it done, and of course I didn't remember to put a progress keeper, because why would I think to do that? But last night I remembered to put a progress keeper on it. So I am up to here with it of the first color, and it's going to be just a triangle shawl. And it is the, you guys can maybe see the edging look familiar. It is the grandma's favorite washcloth pattern. I'm just increasing each row as I go up. You know, it's quick, it's mindless. The needles it is on, these are Clover size 8 36-inch bamboo needles. I love bamboo needles. And I am up to 90 stitches. And I know I'm up to 90 stitches because I keep a row counter around my neck. Come on. Yeah. I keep a row counter, one of these little row counters, just on a piece of yarn. I wear it around my neck while I'm knitting on this. And I also am keeping track of it in my Knitting Traveler's notebook. I made myself a little chart. I've gone over this Traveler's notebook several times, so if you have any additional questions on it, please message me down below. And I just, I write the date, how many stitches or rows I've added, and then what my running total is. So that's how I know where I'm at with it. Okay. This was the one I was afraid I was going to have to get done by May, this month. And now I don't have to have it done until January, so it's kind of nice. I can take my time with it and really enjoy it. This will be a tricolor shawl. After the pink, there is a brown yarn and a blue yarn. So it's going to look like really messed up Neapolitan ice cream. It really is. So yeah, it's going to go pink until I run out of pink, then some brown, then the blue. And yes, I'm only on the 36-inch cable at this point. I'm hoping for my birthday, I hope, that I am going to get the Clover Bamboo interchangeable set with the multiple cables, and then I'm going to get some little cable connectors. This could be a recipe for disaster. I may be tempting fate, but yeah, this is already at 90 stitches, and I foolishly thought, oh, I'm just going to need to take it to 300 stitches. That'll be fine. No. God only knows how many stitches this thing's going to end up with. But yeah. So yeah, that's the one. Once I'm done with cotton yarn, I work on it during the week because it's fairly mindless. Get in there. And it is fun seeing how it progresses. And then my mini skein 10-stitch blanket. I know row-wise I have made a lot of progress. Unfortunately, when it comes to using fingering weight yarn and size 3 needles, doing 50 rows doesn't seem like much. Okay, so let me pick this up carefully. Let me hold it upright. Okay, so the last time you guys saw it, I was on the orange and I turned the corner and I knit all the way to here. right? Let me hold it open. This is what it looks like so far. And I am holding it the correct way. So since then, because that's where my first progress keeper was, that was 50 rows. And let me look at my notes. Because when I sit down to work on this thing, I try to do a minimum of 50 rows at a time. Okay. So, 50 rows, 58 rows, which took me right up until the corner. Then I turned the corner, which doing a corner on the Frankie Brown 10-stitch blanket is 34 rows. So I always know corner. So if anything has a corner in it, it's going to be a minimum of 34 rows. Then turning the corner and knitting to here, this was 100 rows. So from there to there is 208 rows. It just looks like nothing. So I am still on the Twin Mommy Creations Rainbow Rambouillet mini skein set, except I'm into the yellow. I'm not gonna lie, I was really getting sick of this orange. So, and I will hold my cake up carefully. Oh, I can feel that sliding. All right. I will hold my cake up very delicately because it is a center pull. And that's where I'm at. So, my ice maker is being very noisy. So this has been a lot of fun to get back to work on, and because I have so many mini skein sets, I just want to get through them. I really do. So that's what it looks like. And what I've decided to do picture-wise for in progress pictures is, because this one does have a project page on my Ravelry page. Every time I complete a mini skein set, so like when I'm done with the Rainbow Rambo set, I will lay it out and I will take a picture of it. So that way you can see. I think that's what I'm going to do. Or else, I don't know. Because I tried with the first Frankie Brown 10-stitch blanket I did. I tried I think I was measuring it and taking a picture pretty much the same way every other magic yarn ball I did. I would take a picture and then I would take measurements. So I'm doing a similar thing. This is gonna be loud. It's a little tin that I keep my progress keepers in. And the basket that it's in is just a lovely autumn themed basket that I bought at Joann's years ago off the clearance rack, even though for the price I paid for it, it didn't really seem like a clearance price. Go figure. But I love autumn, I love fall. And there we go. So yeah, that is what I've been working on for the last month, and I'm really glad that I didn't make an episode a few weeks ago, because I really wouldn't have had as much progress to show you. I still would have been on the orange. There would have been some significant progress on the shawl, but I mean, it's not as much as I thought. This only occurred to me a week or so ago. So yeah, I think once a month, the episodes, they're still gonna be fairly short because my phone doesn't record longer than 30 minutes. So I mean, I'm never going to have a really, really long episode unless I film it in segments and then tie it all together. But I can't talk for that long, especially when I don't have that much to show you guys. So that's been it. I'm going to keep working on my cotton. You can see where I am with the first cone. And I've still got the second cone to do. So yeah, that'll be fun. Dishcloth inventory is going great. I actually did full inventory. And I'm making progress on my blankets. So, yay! Let me look at my notes. Did I miss anything? Okay. Alright, and just a reminder, my subscriber count is trickling up, which is wonderful. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I forgot to mention it in the last podcast, and I was kind of rushed. That one is I am going to do a giveaway when we reach 100 subscribers to the podcast. Right now we are at 43, so still got a little ways to go, but I'm just going to keep saying it, hoping more people want to subscribe and join the Ravelry group, because that will be a stipulation of the giveaway, is you have to be a member of the Ravelry group. And that giveaway will be 4 mini skeins of my choosing. And I don't have all of them yet. Not yet, but I will. By the time this giveaway, unless this giveaway has to happen like Friday, because today's Sunday, I will have all the mini skeins that I want to give away. So yeah, so thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to be eligible for my 100 subscriber giveaway, please subscribe and go and join our Ravelry group. If you have any questions, please leave them down below or hop over to Ravelry, and you're welcome to leave your questions in the show notes thread for this episode. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll see you guys next month. Bye.